Welcome back to the channel. Today, let's talk about camping small with pets. I'm going to talk mainly about dogs, number one, because that's my experience, and also because it's not always feasible to travel with cats on short trips. Cats, short trips, tight spaces don't necessarily make for fun travel, may make for interesting travel. I have seen cats that are in RVs, but I've seen cats that live with their pet owners in RVs, but that's usually larger rigs, and because they can hold things like litter boxes. All right, first let's talk about Arizona. Arizona is a 11-year-old mixed breed dog that I adopted from Baltimore SPCA. When I got her, she was more of a red-brown color, and like the dirt in Sedona, Arizona. And I thought Arizona made for a better name than Sedona, so there's her name. As she's gotten older, her coat gets lighter and lighter in color, so now she just looks like a brown dog. But until recently, she lived with two cats, Sasha Fierce, who passed away in October of last year at the age of 17, and Tupac, who passed away at the age of 18 this past month. Both cats were adopted from the Humane Society of Baltimore County. So let's talk about our camping experiences with Arizona. We'll start with safety considerations, that is, things that are appropriate for travel with pets no matter what size rig you're in. And then we'll move on to practical things that are like the dog's pack bag, and especially when you're in a small space. And then we'll move on to some medical tips. Because I am a veterinarian, there are a couple things I'd like for you to know. So here we go. All right, starting with safety, we'll talk about restraint. First of all, Arizona wears a harness. Whenever she sees this harness, she knows that she's about to go somewhere, so she gets really excited. I like this one because it's soft. It's so soft that she can wear it the entire trip. I don't need to take it off in the evening when she's going in. She wears a collar, but that's mainly for identification. She tends to pull on her walks, and so of course having the harness keeps that pressure off her neck, because the ring where the leash attaches is on her back. The next thing is her leash. It's a retractable leash. It gives her the space that I want her to have. And so that varies according to the circumstance. The next thing to talk about are enclosures, like fencing. I've seen this when camping. They're great, especially if you have a dog that respects boundaries and the other dogs respect boundaries, meaning your dog is not going to jump the fence. We thought about it, but because of the space constraints in the van, we decided against it, because what we were doing was kind of working. So we didn't purchase one. And I could be wrong, but I think having fencing around would make Arizona a little territorial and bark at visiting campers. And right now, she welcomes visitors, and I mean humans. And I want her to continue to do that. Okay. The next safety consideration is identification. Hopefully your dog will never get away from you, but things do happen. So Arizona is microchipped, and SPCA did that. She wears a collar with my phone number and her name on it, and she wears an Apple AirTag. The next thing is monitoring for safety. Sometimes we travel with friends and we leave the campsite for a few hours to go sightseeing, or maybe to go to dinner. You want to be able to check to make sure the temperature is okay, to make sure your AC is working. We have several ways to monitor that. We have, so there's this temp stick that lets me know if the temperature goes beyond where I set it for. It emails me. I think it may text as well. I haven't had to use that in a while. I'll tell you why in a minute. I have this other Govee temperature, a thermometer, and so I have trained a camera on it at times to monitor the temperature. I don't have to use that one too much anymore either, and that's because now that I have an app where the van is connected, I can check remotely to see what the temperature is. If we're going to be gone for a few hours, I make sure I'm checking that in. And you can also adjust the temperature remotely as well. Also, if I'm going to be gone for a few hours, I hook up a camera to look in on her. I mainly use this when we're at a hotel, though. If we are in a hotel and she's staying in the van, I have that camera on the whole time. So let's go and look at her bag next. Okay, here's Arizona's bag. She gets extremely excited when she sees this come out, because again, this is where she knows she's getting ready to go somewhere. So in here is where I keep her harness and her leash, her food and treats. Here's her treats in here, and this one should be her food. And I always pack 1 day extra food. If we're going to go away for 4 days, I pack for 5 in case something happens. I gotta drop it in the water. Speaking of which, this is not a time to start new food. Don't bring any new food, don't bring any new treats, because you probably will get some vomiting and diarrhea, and this is not the time that you want to do that. So whatever she's been eating at home as far as food and treats, that's what you bring away from home. I have a comb and a brush for grooming. I have a flea comb in here somewhere, but it's the one I've had since I was in veterinary school. I need a new one. Here's something to clip her nails, which doesn't get done enough. And her food and water bowls. This is her collapsible food bowl. See, it opens up to there, and it's very easily cleanable. This is a mat that her food and water bowl can sit on, but rarely does. Here's her water bowl, and again, collapsible, and very easily cleanable. Here is her toy that she uses sometimes, a bandana, her towel. Her shampoo isn't in here, but when she goes to the beach, she gets a bath after, and so there's shampoo, and here's her towel. That's her pack bag. Other than that, I have an outside bed for her, and I say, so this is water resistant, and it's that because it gets rained on a lot. Also, I use a hand vac, one with a powerful attachment. It's meant for animals because Arizona sheds a lot, and I usually have to vacuum and sweep a couple times a day to get that hair under control. I also carry a fanny pack, and in that are essentials for taking her on a walk, especially the bags to clean up her bowel movements. I think most campers do that. I haven't seen anyone just sort of leave that. So that's part of camping etiquette. So let's stop for a minute and talk about camping etiquette with dogs. It's not always a good idea to allow your dog to visit dogs you don't know. You don't know if that dog was socialized for proper play with dogs. You don't know when a dog will behave in a territorial or protective or even an aggressive manner. Arizona was attacked by a dog 3 years ago. The dog was in the site next to us. Came over to visit. The woman said, and she believed, that her dog was friendly. But at that moment, the dog wasn't friendly. Now Arizona is afraid of dogs. She is always on a leash unless there's a dog park at the campsite and there are no other dogs in it. Her leash hooks here inside and extends to outside the van, and I give her as much room as she wants, or depending on the circumstance. Don't leave your dog outside unattended. Excessive barking is not appreciated by other campers. In addition, you don't know what's going to happen or who's going to stop by. this is funny. We're at Assateague State Park here, where the wild horses roam the island. We thought we were being good. We didn't leave food out, but they came, and one horse bit through each coffee pod and ate the Splenda. Andrea is yelling for me to get Arizona in because she ran inside right away. I'm taking pictures, and number one, I'm wondering, is that horse going to get sick from eating coffee and Splenda? And secondly, I'm wondering, what am I going to do for coffee for the rest of this trip? So, next is, as far as camping etiquette, clean up after your dog. Most RV parks and all RV resorts provide bags and receptacles for them, but bring your own and use them. Okay, we are near the end, so let's talk about medical considerations. First, there's rabies vaccines. Rabies is fatal to animals and humans. So this one's kind of a no-brainer. Don't debate it, just get the vaccine. Then you should consider vaccinating against Lyme disease. Lyme disease is carried by ticks. They carry by deer ticks, and they're prevalent everywhere that I've been this year. So, but it's up to you. You can debate about distemper and hepatitis and parainfluenza and all the other vaccines, but not rabies. It's important. Heartworm prevention and also flea, tick, and intestinal parasite treatment. It's always a good idea to prevent rather than trying to treat heartworm. Trust me, your dog will never be the same if it survives heartworm treatment. Like I said, I look for fleas and ticks on Arizona. I've never found any, but she's on a prescription medication meant to kill fleas. And as far as intestinal parasites, she loves going to the dog park. Not because she gets to play with other dogs. I told you that I don't let her do that. She loves it because it's her favorite place to poop. Why? Because even though the area is cleaned up by responsible pet owners, she can smell where they've been, and it triggers her almost immediately to have a bowel movement. Having said that, dogs do get parasites from other dogs' poop. Roundworms, hookworms, whipworms are all contracted from stepping in contaminated stool. Tapeworms are from fleas. So a monthly dewormer will prevent all that comes with an intestinal parasite infestation. Here's the one I use for Arizona, not pushing it. It doesn't do anything for ticks. You will have to use a tick collar or something else for ticks to, or check and get them off yourself. But just go to your veterinarian and make sure that your dog is on a monthly preventive/treatment. First aid kit. I only had to use this once, but I carry it. I keep it on the van. Don't forget to bring your pet's medications. Pay attention to your surroundings. You don't want to have to leave because you're rushing your dog to a veterinarian in search of anti-venom. And having said that, in case of emergency, it's a good idea to bring proof of vaccinations. So that's it. That's it for today. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.